The text message glowed on Erin's phone at 3 in the morning. Can't wait for tomorrow's meeting. You're incredible at handling things. From Lucas Grant, her supposed business partner. I'm Nick Harlow, 40 years old, owner of Harlow Auto Repair, and apparently the biggest fool in Massachusetts. My wife of 15 years just received a love note while sleeping next to me, and she's smiling in her dreams. The irony wasn't lost on me. While I spent my days fixing broken engines, my marriage was falling apart under my own roof. Erin had been working late at Brennan Marketing Agency for months, claiming her promotion to senior account manager required extra dedication. Lucas Grant, the Golden Boy vice president, was apparently providing that extra motivation. I slipped out of bed and padded downstairs to our cluttered Victorian house's kitchen. The coffee maker gurgled to life as I processed what I'd seen. Erin's phone buzzed again. Another message from Lucas. Meeting in the supply room at 9. Bring the Henderson files. Right, the Henderson files. At 9 in the morning, in a supply room. My workshop-trained hands shook slightly as I poured coffee. 20 years of marriage? And this is how it ends? With corporate euphemisms and midnight texting? Before we deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The basement stairs creaked as I descended to my home workshop. Surrounded by spare parts and half-finished projects, I felt more at home than I had upstairs in months. My old police scanner crackled with early morning dispatch calls. Officer Danny Malloy, my high school buddy, was working the night shift again. I'd always been good with electronics. Had to be, considering modern cars were basically computers with wheels. The baby monitor from Owen's childhood sat on my workbench, repurposed years ago as a wireless listening device for the garage when customers got chatty about their problems. An idea formed. Mrs. Doherty next door had mentioned seeing a red Tesla in our driveway during work hours. Thought you might want to know, Nick. Looked expensive. The old woman missed nothing from her kitchen window perch. I climbed back upstairs as dawn broke through our curtains. Erin was already in the shower, humming some tune I didn't recognize. Her phone lay on the nightstand, password protected but displaying notification previews. Morning, honey, she called through the bathroom door. I'll be late tonight again, big presentation for the Morrison account. Sure thing, I replied, pocketing her phone quickly. I'll grab dinner with Manny at the shop. The phone buzzed in my pocket. Lucas again. Wear the blue dress. You know the one. My jaw clenched. The blue dress I'd bought her for our anniversary last year. Erin emerged from the bathroom wrapped in a towel, looking radiant in a way I hadn't seen directed at me in months. Have you seen my phone? Kitchen counter, I think. I handed it to her, watching her face light up as she read Lucas's message. Everything okay at work? I asked. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. She kissed my cheek absently, already typing a response. I headed to the shop early, my mind racing. Harlow Auto Repair occupied a converted warehouse on the industrial side of town. Manny Rodriguez, my lead mechanic for 8 years, was already elbow-deep in a Honda's engine bay. You look terrible, boss, Manny said, wiping his hands on a rag. Wife keeping you up again with her work stories? Something like that. I started the coffee machine, the one with the tiny wireless camera I'd installed last month after some tools went missing. The camera that nobody knew about except me. Kate called. Manny continued. Your sister wants you to call her back about Owen's college applications. Kate Harlow Chen was a family law attorney with the instincts of a shark and the patience of a saint. She'd never liked Erin, claiming my wife was too ambitious for her own good. Maybe Kate had seen something I'd missed. The shop's landline rang. Harlow Auto. Nick, it's Becky from Brennan Marketing. My car's making that grinding noise again. Becky Martinez was a junior account coordinator at Erin's agency, barely 25 and perpetually broke. She brought her ancient Corolla to me because I gave her fair prices and didn't talk down to her like other mechanics. Bring it by this afternoon. I'll take a look. Thanks. Hey, Nick. Is everything okay with you and Erin? She's been acting strange lately. Really secretive. My grip tightened on the phone. Strange how? Private meetings with Lucas, lots of whispering. Monica from HR keeps making jokes about office romances, but Erin just laughs them off. Monica, Erin's supposed best friend and the agency's HR manager. If Monica was making jokes, half the office probably knew already. I'm sure it's just work stress, I managed. Maybe. But Nick? Lucas Grant is bad news. He's dated 3 women from the office this year. Always ends messy. After hanging up, I stared at the coffee machine's hidden camera feed on my phone. The shop stayed busy until afternoon, giving me time to think. When Becky arrived with her Corolla, I was ready with questions. Tell me about Lucas Grant, I said, sliding under her car to check the brake pads. Ugh, where do I start? He's 32, drives that red Tesla, thinks he's God's gift to marketing. His daddy owns half the commercial real estate downtown, so he's basically untouchable at the agency. And the office romance thing? Becky leaned against my workbench. He's smooth, I'll give him that. Takes them to fancy restaurants, buys expensive gifts, makes them feel special. Then he gets bored and moves on. The women always get transferred to different departments or find reasons to quit. I rolled out from under the car. What about Erin specifically? She's different, older, married, more of a challenge. Plus, she's actually good at her job, not just another conquest. But Nick. Becky's voice dropped. I heard them in the supply room last week. It wasn't about the Henderson files. That evening, I sat in my truck outside Brennan Marketing's downtown office building. The red Tesla was parked in Lucas's reserved spot. At 8:30, Erin and Lucas emerged together, laughing at some private joke. He opened her car door, kissed her cheek, and whispered something that made her giggle. They drove separately to Antonelli's, the expensive Italian place on Elm Street. I followed at a distance, parking where I could see their table through the window. Lucas ordered wine, Erin wore the blue dress, and they held hands across the table like teenagers. My phone buzzed with a text from Erin. Working late again, don't wait up. I drove home and activated the baby monitor I'd hidden in our bedroom that morning. The receiver in my basement workshop crackled to life just after midnight when Erin's phone rang. Did you have fun tonight? Lucas's voice came through clearly. The best. I felt like myself again. Good. Because tomorrow we need to talk about the Nick situation. Monica thinks we should move faster. I know, but I want to be smart about this. He's not stupid, just comfortable. Comfortable men are dangerous when they wake up. We need him out of the picture before he starts asking questions. My hands clenched into fists. The Nick situation. Like I was a business problem to be solved. What are you suggesting? Divorce him. Take half of everything, including the shop. Monica says with the right attorney, you could claim emotional neglect, maybe even financial abuse since he controls the business accounts. Erin's laugh was cold. Nick built that shop from nothing. It's his whole identity. Exactly. Break him financially and he'll be too busy surviving to cause us problems. The conversation continued for another 20 minutes, covering details about hidden assets, Erin's secret savings account, and their plan to move in together once I was handled. They talked about me like I was already gone. I sat in my basement workshop until dawn, listening to my wife plot my destruction with her lover. The baby monitor had captured everything, but Massachusetts was a 2-party consent state for recordings. The evidence was useless in court, but I wasn't planning to go to court. 3 days later, Lucas Grant's Tesla developed mysterious brake problems. I'd sent him a professional-looking recall notice, complete with fake NHTSA letterhead and urgent safety warnings. The letter suggested immediate inspection at the nearest certified repair facility. Harlow Auto Repair just happened to be the closest shop that specialized in European vehicles. Mr. Grant? I extended a greasy hand as he stepped out of his pristine red Tesla. Nick Harlow. Thanks for choosing us for your safety inspection. Lucas looked exactly like Becky had described. Tall, perfectly styled hair, expensive suit, and the kind of smile that probably worked on every woman except my sister Kate. He shook my hand reluctantly. This recall notice seems urgent. How long will the inspection take? Couple hours? We're thorough here. I handed him a clipboard with standard paperwork. Mind if I ask what you do for work? Marketing. Brennan Agency downtown. He signed the forms with a gold pen. Actually, I work with your wife. Erin Harlow? She's mentioned you. All good things, I hope. My smile felt like broken glass. Of course. She says you're very dedicated to your work. Manny appeared at my shoulder, wiping his hands on a shop rag. Boss, you want me to handle the Tesla? I'll take this one personally. I pocketed Lucas's keys. Mr. Grant, there's a coffee shop 2 blocks down. We'll call when she's ready. After Lucas left, I got to work. The brake inspection was legitimate. I actually found a minor issue with the rear calipers that needed attention. But while I had the car lifted, I installed a few extras. The GPS tracker went under the rear bumper, magnetic and virtually invisible. The dash cam was trickier, requiring me to tap into the car's electrical system, but Tesla's internal wiring made it relatively straightforward. Both devices would transmit to my phone, giving me Lucas's location and recording his conversations. What's the story with Pretty Boy? Manny asked, handing me a wrench. He's screwing my wife. Manny's hands stilled. You sure? Heard them planning my divorce. They want to take the shop. Over my rotting corpse. Manny's loyalty was absolute. He'd worked for me since his release from county lockup 8 years ago, and I'd never asked what he'd done time for. What do you need? Information, and maybe some creative problem solving. When Lucas returned, I presented him with a detailed inspection report and a bill for the brake work. Everything else looks good. These European cars are built solid. Thanks. He seemed eager to leave. Erin mentioned you two have been married a long time. 15 years next month. She's been working late a lot recently. Big promotion, lots of responsibility. Right. The Morrison account is demanding. Lucas's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and smiled. Speaking of which, I should get back to the office. I watched him drive away, already receiving GPS coordinates on my phone. The dash cam activated automatically when the engine started, giving me audio and video from inside the car. That evening, I called Kate from the shop after Manny left. Nick, it's late. Is everything okay? I need legal advice. Hypothetically, if someone were planning to divorce me and claim half my business assets, what would that look like? Kate's voice sharpened. What did that witch do now? It's hypothetical. Nothing about your voice sounds hypothetical. Are you at the shop? I'm coming over. Kate arrived 30 minutes later carrying a briefcase and wearing her courtroom expression. My sister was 2 years younger but infinitely more sophisticated, with law degrees from Boston College and a reputation for demolishing opposing counsel. Tell me everything. I explained about the texts, the late nights, Lucas Grant, and the conversation I'd overheard. Kate took notes in her precise handwriting, asking pointed questions about our finances, property ownership, and business structure. The good news is you incorporated the shop properly. It's not marital property in the traditional sense. The bad news is Massachusetts allows for equitable distribution, meaning a judge could award her a portion based on her contributions to the marriage. What contributions? She's barely set foot in the shop. Emotional support, maintaining the household, sacrificing her career advancement for your business success. A good attorney could make that argument. I laughed bitterly. Career advancement? She's about to get promoted because she's sleeping with her boss. Can you prove that? I thought about the baby monitor recordings, legally inadmissible but personally devastating. Working on it. Kate studied me carefully. Nick, what are you planning? I'm going to protect what's mine. Be smart about this. Don't do anything that could hurt you legally. I'm always smart, Kate. That's why I'm still in business after 20 years. The next morning, Lucas's GPS showed him at Aaron's office building at 7 a.m., 2 hours before the agency officially opened. The dashcam had recorded his drive there, including a phone call to someone named Monica. It's moving faster than we expected, Lucas had said. Aaron thinks he's getting suspicious. Then we accelerate the timeline. I can have the paperwork ready by Friday. What about the shop? That's where his real money is. Community property laws are flexible. With the right narrative, we can make a case for significant compensation. I forwarded the audio file to a secure email account and continued monitoring. Over the next week, the GPS tracker revealed a pattern. Lucas visited Aaron's house twice during work hours, always when I was at the shop. They met for lunch at expensive restaurants, spent evenings at his downtown condo, and attended what looked like business functions together. The dashcam captured increasingly intimate conversations. Lucas bragging to friends about his married conquest, Aaron complaining about my lack of ambition and social sophistication, both of them laughing about how easy it would be to handle me once they moved forward with their plans. But the most damaging recording came on Thursday evening. Lucas was driving Aaron home from another late dinner when his phone rang on speaker. Lucas, it's Monica. I have updates on the Harlow situation. Go ahead. I contacted Jennifer Walsh at Walsh & Associates. She specializes in high-asset divorce cases. For the right fee, she's confident we can get Aaron at least 40% of the business value, plus alimony and property settlement. Excellent. What's the timeline? 2 weeks to prepare the filing. We're documenting emotional neglect, financial control, and incompatible life goals. Jennifer thinks we can also claim that Nick's blue-collar lifestyle has limited Aaron's professional advancement. Aaron's voice joined the conversation. What about the house? Community property. You'll get half the value, which should be substantial given the neighborhood appreciation. And Nick won't see it coming? Monica laughed. Men like him never do. They think marriage is permanent, like they're precious tools and machinery. I turned off the recording and sat in my truck outside the shop, staring at the building I'd spent 2 decades creating. Every brick, every piece of equipment, every customer relationship represented years of 16-hour days and calculated risks. The idea that some lawyer could hand half of it to my cheating wife made my vision blur with rage. But rage was unproductive. I needed strategy. I called Becky Martinez. Nick, what's up? I need a favor. Nothing illegal, just information. About what? Lucas Grant's expense account, company credit cards, client entertainment, travel receipts, anything that might look questionable to an auditor. Becky was quiet for a long moment. Why? Because he's destroying my marriage, and I think he's probably stealing from your company too. I can't access that kind of information directly, but I know someone who can. Give me a few days. Thanks, Becky. This stays between us. Nick? For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Aaron doesn't deserve you. Friday afternoon, Lucas's Tesla pulled into my shop again. This time, he wasn't alone. Aaron sat in the passenger seat, wearing sunglasses and a tight smile. Nick, she called through the window. Lucas says you did excellent work on his brakes. Just doing my job. I approached the car slowly, noting how comfortable they looked together. What brings you by? Lucas rolled down his window. Actually, I wanted to discuss something with you. Business proposition. I'm listening. I represent some investors interested in expanding into the automotive sector. Your shop has a solid reputation, good location, established customer base. We'd like to make an offer. Aaron's smile widened. Isn't that exciting, honey? A chance to retire early, maybe travel, explore new opportunities. The setup was obvious. Buy the shop at below market value, eliminate my primary asset before the divorce proceedings. I had to admire their thoroughness. That's generous, I said. But I'm not looking to sell. This place is my life's work. Lucas's expression hardened slightly. Everything's for sale at the right price. Maybe you should consider your options carefully. Maybe you should consider yours. The threat hung in the air between us. Aaron shifted uncomfortably, but Lucas maintained his arrogant smile. Well, if you change your mind, you know where to find me. They drove away, and I immediately checked the dashcam feed. Lucas was angry, gesturing as he spoke. He's more stubborn than you said. He'll come around. Nick always takes the practical path eventually. We don't have time for eventually. Monica's attorney wants to move next week. Then we make him an offer he can't refuse. I smiled grimly and reached for my phone. Time to call in some favors. The food festival at Riverside Park drew half the city every October. Local businesses set up booths, families spread blankets on the grass, and everyone pretended our industrial town was picturesque for one weekend a year. I'd volunteered to help with the parking logistics, which gave me access to the VIP section where Lucas had reserved a space for his Tesla. Nick, good to see you. Officer Danny Malloy approached my volunteer station wearing his weekend uniform. We'd been friends since high school, back when he was the quarterback and I was the guy who kept his motorcycle running. Danny, heard you made sergeant last month. Finally, 20 years of night shifts and domestic disputes. He accepted the coffee I offered from my thermos. You seem tense. Everything okay at home? Define okay. Danny studied my face. Want to talk about it? I'd prepared for this conversation. Danny was honest, loyal, and absolutely by the book. But he was also protective of his friends and had never liked Erin's attitude toward blue-collar people like us. Erin's having an affair. Guy named Lucas Grant works at her agency. You sure? Positive. They're planning to divorce me and take half my business. Danny's expression darkened. What do you need? Nothing illegal. Just, if Lucas Grant happens to get pulled over for minor traffic violations, I wouldn't be heartbroken. I'll keep an eye out for reckless driving. The festival opened at noon. I worked the parking area until 2, directing families to open spaces and keeping the VIP section clear for special guests. Lucas's Tesla arrived precisely at 2:30, with Erin in the passenger seat, wearing a sundress I'd never seen before. They walked through the festival like a couple, holding hands and sampling food from various booths. Lucas bought Erin a necklace from a jewelry vendor, kissed her cheek when she modeled it, and posed for pictures that she immediately posted to social media with captions about beautiful fall days and special friends. At 3 o'clock, I made my move. Excuse me, sir? I approached the tow truck driver I'd hired for the afternoon. Red Tesla in space 12. Owner never paid the VIP fee. You sure? Looks expensive. Policy's policy. Tow it to Murphy's lot on Industrial Avenue. 20 minutes later, Lucas and Erin returned to find an empty parking space and a bright orange towing notice. Lucas's face went purple as he read the citation. This is ridiculous, he shouted at the volunteer coordinator. I reserved this space. Sir, all VIP spaces require advance payment. The notice was clearly posted. Where's my car? Murphy's lot. Address is on the citation. They're open until 6. Erin tried to calm him down, but Lucas was beyond reason. He demanded to speak to supervisors, threatened legal action, and generally made a scene that attracted curious onlookers. Someone started filming with their phone. Lucas, please, Erin whispered. People are staring. I don't care. This is harassment. That's when I appeared, wearing my volunteer badge and carrying a clipboard. Problem here? Lucas spun around. You! This is your doing. I'm sorry? Do we know each other? Don't play games, Harlow. You orchestrated this whole thing. The small crowd grew larger. Families with children, elderly couples, teenagers with phones. Everyone loves a good public meltdown. Sir, I'm just a volunteer helping with parking. If you have a complaint about the towing policy, you'll need to speak with the city. Erin grabbed Lucas's arm. Let's just get the car and leave. No, He thinks he's clever, but I know exactly what this is about. What's it about? Asked a woman with a stroller. Lucas looked around at the expectant faces, realizing he'd trapped himself. He couldn't explain our connection without revealing his affair with my wife. Never mind, he muttered. Actually, I said, pulling out my phone, I think I have the Murphy's lot number here somewhere. Happy to help you get your car back. The crowd dispersed as Lucas and Aaron walked away to find a taxi. I watched them go, noting how Aaron's posture had changed. The confident woman who'd arrived holding her lover's hand was now embarrassed and frustrated. My phone buzzed with a text from Becky. Got what you wanted. Can you meet tonight? That evening, I drove to the Rusty Tap, our local dive bar, where nobody from Brennan Marketing would ever venture. Becky was waiting in a corner booth, looking nervous. This could get me fired, she said, sliding a manila envelope across the table. What did you find? Lucas has been creative with his expense account. Dinners with clients who don't exist, hotel rooms for business trips that were actually weekend getaways, car service charges to residential addresses. I opened the envelope and whistled softly. The documentation was thorough. Credit card statements, receipt copies, travel authorizations. Lucas had been stealing from Brennan Marketing for at least 6 months. How much total? Close to $15,000, maybe more if you count the questionable conference expenses. Who has access to this information? Accounting reviews everything quarterly. Monica in HR approves the larger expenses, but nobody cross-references the details unless there's a specific audit. What would trigger an audit? Becky smiled grimly. Anonymous tip to the State Attorney General's office. They take business fraud seriously, especially when it involves tax implications. I bought her dinner and drove home, where Erin was waiting with her own news. How was your day at the festival? She asked, too casually. Fine. Helped some families find parking, directed traffic. Community service. See anyone we know? Mrs. Patterson from the grocery store, the Kowalski family from Owen's old school. Why? Erin studied my face. Lucas said he saw you there, said you were working as a volunteer. Small town. We run into each other sometimes. He also said his car got towed from a VIP space. That's unfortunate. Those festival parking rules can be tricky. She waited for more explanation, but I busied myself with the newspaper. After a few minutes, she gave up and went upstairs. I heard her on the phone shortly afterward, voice low and urgent. The baby monitor in my basement workshop picked up her end of the conversation. He was there, Lucas. It's not a coincidence. Pause. I don't know how much he knows, but we need to be more careful. Pause. Maybe we should postpone the divorce filing. Give this time to settle down. Pause. Fine. But if this gets messy, it's on you. Monday morning brought unexpected visitors to my shop. Erin arrived at 8:30 with Monica Chen, the HR manager I'd heard so much about. Monica was a sharp-dressed woman in her 40s with calculating eyes and a smile that never reached them. Nick, I'd like you to meet my friend Monica. She's interested in getting her BMW serviced here. I wiped my hands on a shop rag and extended one to Monica. Always happy to help a friend of Erin's. Your wife speaks very highly of your expertise, Monica said. I understand you specialize in European vehicles. Among other things, what kind of service does your BMW need? Oh, just routine maintenance. But I'm also curious about your business model. Erin mentioned you're considering expansion opportunities. The fishing expedition was obvious. Monica wanted to assess my assets, probably for the divorce attorney's benefit. Business is steady. I focus on quality work and fair prices rather than expansion. That's admirable, but somewhat limiting from a growth perspective. Have you considered partnerships with larger automotive groups? Not interested in partnerships. Monica exchanged a glance with Erin. Well, if you change your mind, I know some investors who might be interested. After they left, I called Kate. They're accelerating their timeline, I told her. Erin brought her HR friend by to evaluate the shop. Then we need to accelerate ours. I've been researching Lucas Grant's background. Want to know what I found? Tell me. He's been married twice before. Both marriages ended in messy divorces, both ex-wives claimed adultery, and both times he managed to avoid significant financial consequences because his father's lawyers were better than theirs. Meaning he's done this before. Serial cheater who targets successful women, uses them for career advancement, then discards them when something better comes along. Does Erin know about the ex-wives? Doubtful. Men like Lucas don't advertise their failures. That afternoon, I received a call from Becky. Nick, something's happening at the office. Monica's been asking questions about my friendship with you. What kind of questions? Whether I've ever worked on your car, if we've discussed Erin's work situation, if I know anything about your financial status. I think they suspect I'm feeding you information. Are you in trouble? Not yet, but I'm being careful about what I access on the computer system. Good. Stay safe and thanks for everything you've done. There's something else. I overheard Monica on the phone with someone about neutralizing potential witnesses. I think they're worried about what I might say if this goes to court. After hanging up, I sat in my office staring at Lucas's expense account documentation. The evidence was damning, but using it would expose Becky as my source. I needed a different approach. That's when inspiration struck. I called the Brennan Marketing main number and asked for the accounting department. This is Nick Harlow from Harlow Auto Repair. I'm calling about some charges on a corporate credit card for vehicle service that we never performed. What kind of charges? Lucas Grant's card shows 3 separate payments to our shop totaling $800, but we have no record of servicing his vehicle or receiving those payments. That's unusual. Can you hold while I check our records? 5 minutes later, the accountant returned. Mr. Harlow, I see the charges you're referring to. They're listed as emergency roadside service for company vehicle maintenance. Ma'am, we don't provide roadside service, and Mr. Grant drives a personal Tesla, not a company vehicle. I'll need to investigate this further. Can you fax me a statement confirming that your business never received these payments? Absolutely. I hung up and immediately prepared the documentation. By 5 o'clock, Brennan Marketing's accounting department had received official confirmation that Lucas Grant had submitted fraudulent expense claims. The next morning, I watched from my truck as Lucas arrived at the office to find security guards waiting by his Tesla. Through my dashcam feed, I heard his phone conversation with Monica. They're conducting a full audit of my expense account. Someone tipped them off about fraudulent charges. How is that possible? I don't know, but they've suspended my corporate credit cards and restricted my building access pending investigation. This is a disaster. If they find the other irregularities, what other irregularities? Lucas, we need to talk. In person. Somewhere private. I smiled and started my truck. The first domino had fallen. The Brennan Marketing quarterly review meeting was scheduled for Thursday at 10 a.m. I knew this because Erin had mentioned it repeatedly, emphasizing how important the presentation would be for her career advancement. What she didn't know was that I'd arranged to be there. Harlow Auto Repair, I answered, when the agency's office manager called Wednesday afternoon. Mr. Harlow, this is Janet from Brennan Marketing. We're having an emergency with our conference room equipment, and you were recommended as someone who might be able to help. What kind of emergency? Our main presentation system crashed, and we have a crucial client meeting tomorrow morning. Can you take a look at it? I'd never worked on presentation equipment before, but Janet didn't need to know that. I'll be there first thing tomorrow. That evening, I made final preparations. The baby monitor recordings were compiled into a single audio file. Lucas's expense account fraud documentation was organized in a neat folder. The dashcam videos were edited to show the most damaging conversations. Everything was copied to multiple flash drives. Kate arrived at my house at 9 p.m. with a briefcase and a grim expression. Nick, I need to know exactly what you're planning. Justice. That's not an answer. What you're describing sounds like corporate espionage and invasion of privacy. They invaded my privacy first. They're planning to destroy my life and steal my business. Kate sat across from me at the kitchen table. I understand you're angry. I understand you want revenge. But you need to be smart about this. I am being smart. Everything I've done is legal. The expense account fraud is real. The recordings were made in my own home or in public places. The GPS tracking was installed on a vehicle that came to my shop for legitimate service. The recordings might not be admissible in court. I'm not going to court. I'm going to destroy them the same way they plan to destroy me. Kate studied my face for a long moment. What do you need from me? Legal cover. If this goes sideways, I want you representing me. Done. But Nick, be careful. Desperate people do unpredictable things. Thursday morning, I arrived at Brennan Marketing at 8 a.m., carrying a toolbox and wearing my cleanest work shirt. Janet led me to the conference room, where a sophisticated presentation system dominated one wall. It just stopped working yesterday afternoon, she explained. We have the Morrison Group coming in at 10, and Ms. Vale is furious. Ms. Vale was the agency's managing partner, a woman whose reputation for perfectionism was legendary. I'd heard Aaron mention her with a mixture of respect and terror. I'll see what I can do, I said, opening my toolbox. The presentation system was actually working fine. I spent 30 minutes pretending to diagnose problems while actually installing a small wireless receiver that would allow me to connect my phone to their display system. By 9:30, I was packed up and ready to leave. All fixed, I told Janet. Should work perfectly for your meeting. I positioned myself in the building's lobby with a clear view of the conference room through its glass walls. At 9:45, the participants began arriving. Ms. Vale, a severe woman in an expensive suit, 3 clients from the Morrison Group, various Brennan Marketing staff members, including Monica. Erin entered at 9:58, looking confident and professional. She wore her lucky red suit and carried a leather portfolio that I'd given her for Christmas 2 years ago. Lucas was noticeably absent. The meeting began with standard presentations about marketing strategies and campaign results. I watched through the glass as Erin delivered her portion with practiced confidence. The Morrison Group representatives seemed impressed. At 10:30, during a brief break, I activated my phone's connection to their presentation system. Ladies and gentlemen, I said into my phone, my voice suddenly filling the conference room through their speakers. I apologize for the interruption, but I have some additional information that might be relevant to your business relationship with Brennan Marketing. Chaos erupted in the conference room. People looked around frantically, trying to locate the source of the voice. Ms. Vale demanded that someone find the technical problem immediately. My name is Nick Harlow. My wife, Erin Harlow, is sitting in your conference room right now. What you're about to hear are recordings of conversations between Mrs. Harlow and Lucas Grant, your former vice president, discussing their affair and their plans to commit fraud. Erin's face went white. She looked directly at the glass wall where I stood in the lobby, our eyes meeting across the distance. The first recording began playing, Lucas and Erin discussing their relationship and laughing about how easy it would be to manipulate me. The conference room fell silent as the intimate details of their affair filled the air. "This is harassment," Monica shouted, but nobody moved to stop the playback. The second recording was more damaging, their conversation about divorcing me and taking half my business assets. Erin's voice clearly stating that destroying me financially would make me easier to handle. Ms. Vale's expression grew colder with each passing minute. The final recording was devastating. Monica discussing fraudulent expense claims and Lucas bragging about his ability to manipulate company policies for personal benefit. When the audio ended, the conference room remained silent for nearly a minute. Ms. Vale, one of the Morrison Group representatives, said finally, "I think we need to postpone this meeting." "Agreed," Ms. Vale replied, her voice like ice. Mrs. Harlow, Ms. Chen, please remain behind. Everyone else is dismissed. I watched through the glass as the conference room cleared, leaving only Aaron, Monica, and Ms. Vale. The conversation that followed was brief and clearly unpleasant. Within 10 minutes, both Aaron and Monica were escorted from the building by security. I walked to my truck and drove to the Rusty Tap, where Manny was waiting with a beer and a satisfied grin. "How did it go, boss?" "Better than expected." My phone rang an hour later. Aaron's voice was shaking with rage. "You destroyed everything. My career, my reputation, my future. You destroyed our marriage first." "This isn't over, Nick. I'll take you to court. I'll take half of everything you own. I'll make sure you regret this." "Good luck with that. Your attorney friend Monica just got fired for ethics violations. Lucas is under investigation for fraud, and you're unemployed with a reputation for corporate espionage. You recorded private conversations illegally." "I recorded conversations in my own home and in public places, perfectly legal in Massachusetts, as long as I'm a participant or witness." The line went quiet for a long moment. "What do you want?" she asked finally. "I want you gone. Out of my house, out of my life, out of my business. Take your clothes and your car and disappear." "And if I don't?" "Then I release the recordings to social media, along with documentation of Lucas's expense account fraud and Monica's HR violations. Your affair becomes public knowledge, and your professional reputation gets destroyed citywide instead of just at one agency." Another long silence. "I'll need time to find a place to stay." "You have until Sunday. After that, I change the locks." That evening, I sat in my basement workshop, listening to Erin pack her belongings upstairs. The baby monitor picked up her phone conversations with friends and family, trying to find temporary housing and explain her sudden unemployment. Nobody seemed surprised that our marriage had ended. Several people mentioned that they'd suspected problems for months. Kate arrived Saturday morning to help me document Erin's departure and ensure everything was handled legally. "How do you feel?" she asked, as we watched Erin load boxes into her car. "Like I can breathe again." "Any regrets?" "Just one. I should have done this sooner." Lucas Grant was arrested the following Tuesday on charges of corporate fraud and embezzlement. The investigation revealed over $25,000 in fraudulent expense claims dating back 18 months. Monica was charged as an accessory for her role in approving the fraudulent claims. Becky Martinez was promoted to senior account coordinator and given a substantial raise for her cooperation with the investigation. Erin filed for divorce 3 weeks later, but without Monica's legal connections and Lucas's financial support, she was forced to use a public defender who specialized in family law. The divorce settlement gave her exactly what she'd contributed to our marriage: nothing. I kept the house, the shop, and my self-respect. 6 months later, I was closing the shop on a Friday evening when a familiar red Tesla pulled into the parking lot. Lucas Grant stepped out, looking considerably less polished than I remembered. His expensive suit had been replaced by jeans and a wrinkled shirt. His confident smile was gone. "Nick Harlow." "Lucas. Thought you were in prison. Plea bargain. 2 years probation, full restitution, community service." He approached slowly, hands visible. "I wanted to talk to you." "Nothing to talk about." "I think there is. You destroyed my life very thoroughly. Lost my job, my reputation, my freedom. Even my father won't return my calls. You destroyed mine first." "Fair point." Lucas leaned against his car. "But here's the thing. I'm not done with you." I set down my toolbox and faced him directly. "That sounds like a threat." "It's a promise. You think you won, but this isn't over. I know people, I have resources, and I have time. Lots of time." "Lucas," I said quietly, "let me explain something to you. I'm a mechanic. I fix things that are broken, and I'm very good at it. But I also know how to break things so they can't be fixed." "Is that supposed to scare me?" "It's supposed to educate you. See, you made a mistake thinking I was just some dumb blue-collar guy you could manipulate. But I'm the guy who installed tracking devices on your car without you noticing. I'm the guy who recorded your private conversations for months. I'm the guy who destroyed your career with a single phone call. Lucas's confidence wavered slightly. So here's my promise to you, I continued. If you come near me, my business, or anyone I care about, I'll finish what I started. And next time, I won't be nearly as gentle. Lucas stared at me for a long moment, then got back in his car and drove away. I never saw him again. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday morning in October, exactly 1 year after the food festival incident that started everything. I signed the papers in Kate's office, officially ending 15 years of marriage with a few signatures. How do you feel? Kate asked. Free. That evening, I sat in my basement workshop, surrounded by the tools and projects that had always brought me peace. The baby monitor was silent, no more late-night conversations to record, no more secrets to uncover. Manny knocked on the door at 7 o'clock. Boss, we got a problem upstairs. Mrs. Patterson's Buick is making that grinding noise again, and she's insisting we look at it tonight. I smiled and reached for my toolbox. Some things never change, and that was exactly how I wanted it. The shop stayed busy, my reputation grew, and life settled into a comfortable routine. I never remarried, never felt the need to. I'd learned that some people are worth trusting, and others are worth avoiding. Erin moved to California 6 months after the divorce, supposedly for a fresh start. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she found work at a small marketing firm and was dating someone new. I hoped she'd learned something from our experience, but I didn't really care. The important thing was that I'd protected what mattered: my business, my integrity, and my peace of mind. Sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to be a victim. And sometimes, when someone tries to destroy your life, the smartest response is to destroy theirs first. I learned that lesson well, and I never forgot it.